Welcome to one of my little videos, and in this video I'm just going to talk you a little bit about my underfloor heating. So I'm at the cable build and the new extensions will be the normal setup, which is PIR insulation, separated membrane, expansion gap around the edge, wet underfloor heating attached to the Celotex, and then a 50mm anhydrite screed, which is then like a very level screed that goes over everything. The reason I use that screed is because you get a 30% better output from the underfloor heating, which inevitably saves money on energy in the future. Yes, it takes a long time to dry. Yes, it's a bit of a faff, but done by the right contractor, it's absolutely perfectly flat and level. So then if you're going around with joinery and skirting and kitchens and all the rest of it, it's just such a nice system. So in the existing build, we had a terrazzo floor, we had some screeded floors, and they were all fairly flat. So we used a system called Low Pro, which is only a 20mm build up. So how that works is we prime the floors, we prepare the floors, we do a bit of latexing here and there to make them nice and flat. We prime them with a mixture of 1:1, so 50% water, 50% primer supplied by the Underfloor Heating company. This is then over the existing floors that have been well hoovered. And then we're using a black castellated panel, which is around about 1500 by about 850. And each one of these, as you can see me in the background, I'll turn around away from the light and just be a bit better. So this is the castellated panels. They're basically lots of little castles, which allow for a 10mm pipe to be pushed in the format that you need to suit each room. Now the panel is actually locked together along two edges, so you've got like a male and a female castle, and they're locked together, so it's a really good system. It's got a self-adhesive back on it. You peel off the back and then you push it all down onto the primer, and it really does stick well if your floors are flat. You have an edge expansion gap that goes around, which also acts as like a tanking edge. It's really important that you get this stuff down, bonded down right, you get the edge detail right, so none of the liquid that goes on then leaks. If I just show you behind me here, so, and moving back through. So we've got 3 manifolds on this job. One of the manifolds is in this boiler room behind me. I'll just pitch the camera up like that, and that's all 10mm pipes coming out of that. Some of the other manifolds that we have got a mixture of 14mm pipes for the larger sections of the wet underfloor, the traditional underfloor heat, and the Low Pro. So if I look at this manifold behind me here, you can see that I'm only using at the moment 2 ports in here, and the rest is going to be for the other system. So what we've had to do is to fill this system up. We're currently sitting at 2 bar of pressure and it's full of water. And the reason you do that is because you want to know if there's any problems, if there's any leaks prior to that. It's been tested for 3 days. It's still at 2 bar. We're really happy with that. And we leave that full up with water until the screed has gone off. So it's fully in sort of tension, if you like. Now, where we've got a doorway, which is adjacent to the other areas, we've had to shutter these off and make them so they're not going to leak. And where I've got, for example, here behind me, I've got a cupboard going in, so I've shuttered that off just there as well. So it's a little bit of work involved in it, but like anything, once you get the hang of it, the system's really good. I was a bit nervous about the whole idea of bonding these castellated panels down to the different substrates. So I'd say the terrazzo is no problem, it's dead flat, and once it's primed, you cannot get this stuff up. But where we'd done some filling in with traditional sand and cement screeds, and you know what it's like, it sometimes dusts up, so we gave those a primer and another primer to get rid of all that dust. So as long as you take care and spend a bit of time on it, that's the crucial thing. Don't leave this to the last minute and think, oh, we'll get that in tomorrow, because it does take longer than you think it's going to take. But the result is quite good. So the product that goes over the top now is a liquid screed. Now you can mix it bucket by bucket, but there's 130 bags of it here to do this area, around about 85 square meters. So what I have got is a contractor here who has a special pump and a mixing machine which will do 100 bags an hour. Now it's not that they're going to do it in an hour, but what they will be able to do is have a perfect mix. Once they've set their parameters on the pump and the mix, it's going to come through perfect, and they're going to be able to pour this all in a continuous fashion. There's 3 of them here, so they'll go around first, checking all the datums, making sure there's any spots here which are particularly out of level. They'll think, how are we going to get over this, what we're going to do, because what you don't want to do, find the highest spot, put 20 mil on there, end up putting 40 mil somewhere, you know, miles away, because you will use twice as much gear. So it's fundamental, really, I suppose, that you really go around first, space it all out, set it all out, and take it on a room by room basis. So, for example, in this room, you may be 5 mil out in one side, so you don't really want to add 5 mil more everywhere else, because with our floor coverings that we're going on here in the end, we'll be doing some latex in as well. Let's say it's like Cardine type product. Obviously got latex first, even though this has got a nice flat surface. For Cardine, you don't want any telegraphing coming through it, so you do have to go over again with a latex of some description for that product to be perfectly stuck down. If you're going to use a carpet, it's a bit more forgiving. If you're going to use a tile, it's a bit more forgiving, because you can make any tolerances up in your tile adhesive, for example. So there we have it. It's been a big job. It's taken me about 3 or 4 days to get this all ready for the guys. They're going to get on now and do the screed, and the next video I'll do will be of us installing the rest of the underfloor, which is going to be on 150 mil Celotex, separate membrane, and it's going to be these areas behind me and a couple next door. So thanks for joining me, and if you're doing underfloor heating, then check out my if you want to know who I'm using, ask me and I'll let you know who the company who supplied this to me was. I've been using them for about 10 years on all my jobs. Reliable company, not the cheapest in the world, but they're very good at getting it right. Anyway, in the meantime, thanks for joining me.